Woohoo! Everybody, hello! Welcome to the Manifestor Show. Our names are Kristine and Jodi. Actually, I think you're over here. And we are manifestors. According to human design, we are also collaborators or LMTs. We work together. And we are here to talk to you about some really, really important things today. I wanted to introduce myself first. My name is Kristine Grace Troche. I live in Anchorage, Alaska. I am an embodiment practitioner. That is basically a fancy name for people who tell you how to live in your bodies and from your bodies. I'm also a licensed massage therapist, and I do a lot of energy healing as well. And I work with clients one-on-one to help them be awesome and to like move the blocks and the hashtag blockstacles, I love that word, that like block people from like living their authentic lives and like saying the thing. So that's what I do, and that's where I live. And this is Jodi, my awesome friend from Nebraska. Introduce yourself.
I'm Jodi. I'm from North Platte, Nebraska, out in the middle of the United States. Woo! Woo! Represent out here. I am also an LMT, and the title that I go by is Body, Mind, Soul Mechanic, because I love fixing the things. I love diagnosing their truth. Like, that's what we do. And sometimes that gets messy, and sometimes that gets exciting, and all times we get to support that and go through that together. So fun. And I'm so excited to talk about this today because I'm fucking fired up.
Yeah. We're actually really pissed. Amidst the smiles. So what we're going to talk about today is a bunch of different things, but it really wraps around ethical responsibility, integrity, like working with other practitioners, how that looks. And like, basically what this boils down to, I'm going to be a really good reductionist right now, is like your rights as a client, what the type of service that you deserve as a client, as a patient, and our roles as practitioners, as therapists, and what that looks like. And there's a lot that's going to go into this. We're going to talk about like what we do, who we are, why we do what we do. We're also going to talk about 2 different case studies of real life examples of practitioners we worked with that have done it wrong. And I mean, horribly wrong, like to the point to where we have ethical responsibility to report it and to call them out. And so we do, because that's who we are. And because we love our clients so much that we don't want to see them get hurt. And so we're going to talk about that. So what we're really talking about today, and Jodi and I both did a live on Facebook a little while ago, and it was hilariously awful because we had terrible echo on my end. And I have no idea why. But the whole title around that live was all about like, we're here to heal people and we're not here to hoard them. And the reason I'm bringing this up first is because that kicked off all of this, I think, in a lot of ways. And what we meant by that was, we really are here to serve people from a deeper space of service, and not to just hoard people into our little corner, and to not share them with other practitioners, and to not like let them get other services or get other help. And that was a really interesting live. Do you have anything that really came up
on
that live?
This for me has been like, and for what the feedback that I've gotten, because everybody's like, oh my God, that live, like they were so excited about the information and so annoyed, just like Kristine was with the echo. I couldn't even hear it until I watched it back. It was horrible. But what was going on in that live was wonderful, because this is how we have shaped our practices because of our own experience through this. And so we're saying the damn thing because everyone else is afraid to fucking say it. Yeah. So the thing that, led me here is I was being told that I was underselling and that I wasn't being of service to our industry because of how I was pricing things or how I was doing things. And I'm calling bullshit on our entire industry and what's going on in what we were going through at the time. Because what I have found with my clients is I charge appropriately to, 1, like ignite that person, like activate that person. And I charge in a way that allows you to get all the help that you need. because I am not all that you need.
Yeah.
And I am not for everyone, thank God, because not everyone's for me either. And that's okay. But it's something that really fires me up and I'm really passionate about, because everybody is in the goddamn business of sales instead of service. And I'm sick of it. And this is part of it. And with that comes everything else that we're doing and that we're talking about today. Do you care if I lead into this?
No, go ahead. Yeah.
So this leads into what I've experienced with our first case study, which is ultimately, at the bottom line, a practitioner who is in scarcity mode. And when I say scarcity, I'm talking about you're the practitioner who thinks like, what am I going to do to get the money? I need more clients. I need all the people.
Yeah.
Why are they doing so much better than I am over there? Why is she busier than I am? Why has he got all those clients? And what? Oh my God. Like, fuck that. Because again, I'm not for everybody. Neither are you. And there are too many people on the face of the earth to serve to be worried about fucking scarcity and causing issues for other therapists. Thinking that you're the only one. And because when we get into that scarcity mentality, and we've all felt it at one time or another, if you've been in business for yourself at all, you know what scarcity feels like.
Yeah.
So who are you fucking serving when you're in that space? Because you're sure as hell not serving yourself, but you're definitely not serving your clients.
Yeah.
You end up hoarding people. And what happens is they don't get served the way that they need to be served. So what happened in this first case study is a mutual client was working with this practitioner on an energy work level. So this is where things get a little goofy for all of us. And this is why we talk about integrity, because energetic ethics are also a thing in our business. So what was happening is the client was receiving this sort of energetic work, as was her child. And her child was experiencing something that it's really hard to wrap your head around what's actually going on. And she was having trouble processing all of the things that were happening. The child expressed, I don't want to do this anymore, because she was so uncomfortable and confused. The practitioner continued to work on the child
without
her knowing. And now the child is in a space of complete disarray. And I'm so angry and so sad right now. Like,
Yeah. And I want to break this down a little bit more, because I want people to
yes, please.
Pause. Yeah. So we're talking about a therapist, practitioner, right? Massage therapist and energy worker. So energy has the same boundaries, people. At energetic responsibility, we have a whole thing about this, which we will share soon, about what that looks like. It's the same thing. It doesn't matter if you're touching people's bodies or working on the energy. It's the same. So the client comes in, the client's the mother, and receives healing work, right? Whether it's body work or energy work. And then that offer is extended to the child, right? And so the first time, that was aware or not aware?
Aware.
So the first session for this child was aware. She said no, right? She said no. Now there is also something else that I want to point out here in this too. So she said no. The mother comes back in again, to receive the session. And then the therapist offers to work on the child again. The child has already said no. The other part here is the mom said yes, which is a problem. And that's something that's a conversation that's a practitioner to the client having that conversation, right? Of well, no, that's where the line draws.
And devil's advocate there, as a mother, when you get to this place of I don't know what to do for my baby, anything, please help me.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's hard, right? But that's still a line. She said no. And so the problem here is that those sessions continued without the child's knowledge, and they were energetic. So some people think, oh, it's not a big deal. It's a huge deal. That's an act of betrayal. And that's an act of, like her trust is broken. This is what's happening. If this were to happen to any other adult, this would be a huge violation, right? And so this is where we're at. A child receiving sessions and she doesn't even know it. And secondly, she has no idea that this is going on. So she has no idea that the experiences, the symptoms, the side effects, which are totally real, of like we have a side effects of massage, we have side effects of energy work, are happening. Nobody's helping her through that. So she's just experiencing multiple sessions of this without knowing. And now, here we are.
Yeah. Yes. And
yeah,
there's so many facets to this, and it hurts my heart. And then, this anger, this rage monster comes up. And I'm pretty calm right now because we've talked it out a couple times before this.
Thank God.
But there is something about this. This is part of our energetic responsibility. This is part of our ethics, is what we do as practitioners. And this is something that has always been such a gray area. And I'm calling it out because there's nothing fucking gray about no. Nothing.
No. I don't care if you're a child. I don't care if you're an adult. It's
nothing.
A no. No's a no.
Yeah. And the other part of this is on the other side of it that's really interesting. This child happens to be having, she has these experiences, she's feeling the things and she doesn't know why. But what I've also experienced is adults who are receiving work that don't know it. There's nothing to receive. It's not going to fucking work. That's not how things go. So it's this openness of like, what are you doing? Are you padding your checkbook because you're afraid of the scarcity? Are you padding your clients because you're like, what if the bottom falls out? Well, like, welcome to fucking business. Like, this is a lack of integrity. This is a lack of authenticity. This is like a lack of ethics. And all of this in itself is easily fixed. Like, it's, why would you do that to someone? And so, I mean, and it's something that we learn very early on, no matter what kind of, like massage therapist you are, like what kind of schooling you have, is that, I mean, consent is number one, like absolute number one. And it doesn't matter whether we're talking about, touching people or not. But causing, this is also like the Hippocratic Oath, right? Really?
No harm. Yeah.
We don't do harm. So,
right. And that's the biggest question right here is like, how is this of service? Like, that's the number one thing. This is a practitioner thing, right? How is this of service to that person? Is it of service to them to work on them unknowingly without them knowing? No, it's not. Of course not. Because for one, they're not willing. And they've clearly said no. And two, nobody can receive anything that they're not willing to receive. That's just not going to happen. You can't force anything upon anybody, right? You can't force love. You can't force care. You can't force it. They have to choose it for themselves, which is also a part of our work, right? People choosing for themselves first, and then watching that be the ripple effect for others to make that own decision for themselves, right? The other part of this here is, this is a question that you and I get asked a lot. And I get asked about this constantly. The number one question that clients ask me specifically around energy work is, do you ever clear somebody else? Does it ever come up where you clear someone else? And this is my response all the time. I never, ever clear somebody else without their permission, period. I don't care if that's your child, your mother, your grandbaby, it doesn't matter. I do not ever. Now, the caveat of this is, if there is energy on you, right, that is yours, that is connected to somebody else's stuff, but that is on your own energetic being, right? That's different. That's a totally different thing. I don't go and clear Jodi because I think that Jodi needs help, right? That's not how this works, right? No. And I know you come across this a lot of like people saying, oh, should I do this for them? Or, oh, should I work on them? And your response quite clearly is very much the same thing.
Yeah, I get it all the time. Like, well, what do I do? Like, what about my husband? Can you check in on my husband? And I'm like,
yes,
no, I can work on you. I can work on you today. You're right here. Let's do you. And sometimes that's connections, chords and different things like that. But I'm not working on him. If he wants work, he can come to me. Because this is the other thing about my integrity of my business is I don't fucking chase anyone. Period. I don't chase you. If you want the work, you will come to me. If not, it's okay. Like whenever. It's not now, but it's really, this is really, really, really true. Like, I don't care who you are. I'm not chasing you down to be like, you have all these entities and I need to help you. And oh my God. And don't you think you should work with me? Like, fuck that, dude. Like, if you're ready to work, that's what I do, because that's where my integrity lies, is like, you're willing, you're ready, and you're coming to me for you.
Right.
Period.
Right. And I want to talk about, this is a little caveat. This is funny. That whole thing right there about chasing people. It's really interesting. I want to talk a little bit more about the style of work that we do, because they're very different from other massage therapists. We're very different from other Reiki healers, energy healers. We're very, very different type of person. I had a client once that came in just recently, actually a couple weeks ago, for regular massage, no energy work, just massage. And there's a reason why I do these things separately as well, because it's a line, right? So anyway, she comes in for massage. I work on her, and you and I, Jodi, are both energetically in tune. Like, we feel stuff all the time. That does not mean that we mention it. That does not mean that we talk about it. It just means that we feel it. We make a note to ourselves of like stuff that we notice, but it is not something where we're like, oh, Sue, did you notice that you got this thing and it's coming out of it? No, we're not going to talk about it, right? Like, unless they ask, right? So she comes in, she lays on the table. I notice some things, right? I don't say it. This is not part of that. Like, this is not an emergency. This is not like, there's no higher risk involved. It's just some energetic stuff that I'm noticing that we need to work on probably in the future. She comes back in for an alignment session, which is energy work, massage, all the things, body, mind, awareness, coaching, And we talk about stuff that comes up, powerful healing session, so much stuff moves. And then she asked me at the end, she says, did you notice this before? This is me and her. I said, yes. And she says, why didn't you say anything? And I said, here's the thing. Were you ready to receive it in that moment? She said, no. I'm like, that's why. Because when you are ready and you want to know, you will ask. And also, we will ask you, we'll say, hey, and sometimes it's true. Like, if I notice some things and I'm like, okay, there's obviously clearly some disruptions and we should probably have a conversation, I will say that and say, hey, are you willing to hear some of my perspective on a couple things? Yeah. And they will say yes or no, right? Exactly.
Sometimes it's no. Sometimes it is no, but sometimes it's like, oh yeah, please. Most of the time, please. But it's the permission, right? We always ask the permission.
Yes. Right. And if it's no, then it's like, great. Then I will just keep that to myself. I'll just make a note of that. And if it's yes, I still suggest it, but that does not also mean that we go into it right at that moment unless we have the space and time, right?
Right.
Super interesting. So there's like two sides of this, right? And this is really like kind of tying into like why we do things so differently. Is the biggest part of this process. And I talk about Earth School, meaning like you are here on this planet for a reason, right? Everybody says that, but you really are. And a lot of this is choice, is like you choosing the type of level of care that you need, you choosing and asking for things that you need to receive, right? Getting your needs met, getting the care that you need, working with practitioners that are really of service to you, that are aligned with you, right? And this is really all about that. It's like all about like empowering the client that they are the people that are in charge of their own care, right? And they're the people that get to choose. And so, the type of work that we do, we work a lot with other practitioners all the time because we don't hoard our clients. We like them. I tell my clients all the time, take it all. If you can do it all, do it all. Because if they need it, take it. Like, you can go see your chiropractor and your mental health therapist and me and your acupuncturist. Oh, and you can also see your herbalist. And you can also, right? Like, you get to do all the things. You don't get to just only see me because I'm a practitioner, right? You get to work with other therapists and we get to collaborate. And that's on our end. And not every practitioner is the same way, right? But we get to work with other practitioners to say, hey, this is what I'm seeing with this patient, this client. And can you, like, let's have a conversation.
It is the best way to serve. Like,
Yeah.
we say as a society, right? It takes a village to raise a child.
Mm-hmm.
It also takes a village to support what you want. It's your growth, and support is so important. Like so important. Like that's why we have each other. That's how we found each other. Because in the space that we were in at the time, we weren't receiving the support that we needed. We found it in each other. It was great. And thank God, because we were being hoarded at the time.
Yeah. That was hard.
And so it's a space of like, wow. And so now everything's so easy and customizable, and it's so much fun for me because I don't one size fits all anything, because I'm not that way. Yeah. Boring, yawn. But I think it's so important, and I cannot believe the difference in my clients that I'm like, oh, and I think that you need to talk to, and I would really, and we do it for each other too.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
All the time. Like, oh my gosh, like one of our other Shaman Soul Sister girls was just telling us this morning about a practitioner she had a session with that I had a session with a year ago. I was like, oh, you got to call this gal. Right. So it really does take everyone. And when we are divided in these like selfish bullshit places of scarcity and crap, like who is being served? No one. I know serving my client is giving them exactly what they need. And that's always collaborating with someone else.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's always that way. Yeah. And that's the interesting part, is that like the collaboration is because we're multidimensional beings. We're multifaceted humans. Like we need more than just one person in our life. We can't get all our needs met by just our one person, right?
Yeah.
Like it just doesn't happen that way. We are social beings. So I do this a lot. Like I have the way that I work, I have a couple different like offerings that I give to my clients. And I also collaborate really exclusively with one chiropractor in town. I love him, Dr. Bob Como. He's amazing. And I work with him a lot. So I refer a lot of people to him. And sometimes they see me there because I actually work out of his office also, because I just love it. And I think it's great to be able to serve people on that level. The other thing too is like, I also refer people to, consistently actually, to White Raven Center here in town, which is like a mental health therapy type of therapy. It's very different, which I love, but that is also what it is. And so when we notice, this brings me to my second case study, keeping myself on track, is when they're getting multiple levels of care, right? And this is why you and I both say, get on a discovery call with us. This is where I'm going. I found it. When we say get on a discovery call with us to talk about what you need, what that really means, guys, is get on the phone with us, because we don't know what you need till you tell us. And we may not be the people for you. We are kind of like a bridge. If we see that like, hey, this is what you're needing and this is what we do, let's talk about that. If this is what you're needing and you need like us and somebody else, I'm going to be like, hey, this is what I do, and you need to go see this person and this person. Like, and we refer you to where you need to go, because most people, and this is like totally like a common thing, is you walk into a doctor's office, you feel like you're being herded like cattle, and you go through the freaking doors, right? And you don't know what's happening. You don't know what your diagnosis means. You don't know anything about this. Like, and you're just kind of like wandering around hoping that somebody will explain it to you, right? We are those people that explain things to you. Like we get to say, hey, that's what this really is. Like, hey, do you think you could collaborate with like a nutritionist so that you could talk to your doctor? Because like those types of things are really important. Before I forget, our other shaman sister, Alyssa Swingle, is amazing. She has a Wellness Collective Illinois. We're gonna get her on here. We're volunteering her to come join us next time, because
she's being
she does
voluntold.
this. Yes, and she does this on a daily basis with other medical doctors, with other nurse practitioners, to get people that patient-centered care all the way through, so that they can understand what's happening.
She advocates for the client.
Go figure, right? It's amazing. But I know it's a whole new concept, and that way, right? Like the freedom of like knowing that you can walk into an appointment, whatever that is, and like know what they're talking about, and know that your other practitioners are talking together is huge, because not everybody's like us. Not everybody is like me and Jodi, where we're going to call the MD, or we're going to call the other person out and be like, hey, we noticed this and the other, or like send them whatever. So this brings me to my other case study, and I want to talk about this. I went to a seminar with a women entrepreneurs group here in town, and we listened to this business psychologist, and she was talking about being an emotionally effective leader. She said something that totally hit home for both of us because we experienced this firsthand. And she talks about, like, her whole purpose is to help businesses, so practitioners like us and other therapists, really have an effective practice. So what we are emotionally intelligent, we help others make those same decisions, which is basically what we already do, right? But I just loved hearing what she had to say. And she said this. She said, I have a very hard time with untrained life coaches who work one-on-one with people and kind of open them up with a can of worms, which is not in your scope of practice, right? Not to go regressive, right? They're in the now and moving forward. And it's dangerous. It's very, very dangerous. And it rips some people wide open unknowingly, because people walk around with trauma all the time. People walk around like they're 12 years old because that something happened and you don't even know. Their emotional intelligence level is like 6, right? And so when she said that, it really hit home for me, because you and I both experienced that. And we have done our work and are continuing to do our work. And that's an anomaly for most practitioners. Most practitioners have their own trauma and they haven't looked at it, right? And the reason why I loved her saying that is because it gave me the freedom to know that we are actually doing service for our clients. Like, we are not going to just rip them wide open accidentally with an energy work session and be like, okay, you're good. Have a nice day. We'll talk to you next week. Oh, absolutely not. It's like, okay, great. This went to some places that we did not expect today. So I'm going to need you to follow up with these practitioners as well. Mm-hmm. Right? Like, it's so serving. And for them to know that, like, oh, okay, great, because that was a lot.
No, sometimes, sometimes it is the case where it's like, oh, okay, we need to do this now. Like,
yes.
And I will totally call ahead for you, like, whatever we need to do. I can be there with you. I will support you. Like, it can be that kind of situation. It can also be you're uncomfortable today.
Yeah.
You're going to have to sit in that. I'm here to support you. I'm not going to leave you, because that's what we do. I'm here for you. But until you get there for yourself, like, I'm not doing it for you. So that's the other important thing about practitioners and that responsibility within that, the growth process is uncomfortable, and people don't like to look at the uncomfortable and the yucky and and guess where all that shit is? Inside you. Yay! And it's not pretty, and sometimes it's not fun. And that's why support, because do you want to grow? Do you want it to change? Do you want to be better? Like, then these are the places you have to look at. And when you're not willing to look at your shadow, there's nothing I can do for you. When you think for a moment that you're going to come to me with your shadow and I'm going to take care of it, we're not aligned and we're not working together.
Yeah.
And so it's, and anyone that tells you different, maybe be a little aware of that.
Red flag.
Huge red flag. And that's the problem, is that all of this is this is not new information or new work, but this is new to be out in the open, like, all the time, in our society now. Like, we're seeing, more, like, how many awakening books do you see, enlightenment things? And, like, it's huge. This is a movement. Things are happening, people. Like, they are happening. So the problem is we get these practitioners, because I don't, these other humans who are like, I'm a coach because I bought a product. Oh, okay. Oh, good. You know everything about that product. So have realistic expectations of these kind of people. Are they going to change your fucking life? No. They're going to tell you how to use a product correctly.
Right.
And call themselves a coach. Fine. It's totally fine. This is why I don't call myself coach anymore. I call myself mechanic, because that's what I do.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's be very aware. Be very aware of what someone is selling you. Because I have no problem. Like I say this all the time. I've said this before, but like I love authenticity. I love it above everything else. You could come to me and say, I am a crummy son of a gun, and I'd be like,
crummy son of a gun.
We're besties now because you told me from the beginning who you are.
Yeah.
Like the facade and the look how amazing my life is, and don't you want it too? Like, dude, this work is a bitch sometimes. This work is dark and dirty and exciting and wonderful and horrible. And like, this is a fucking roller coaster and this is real. And this is what we experience every goddamn day. Why? Because we do our own work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
She's like on fire. Love you. But this is really why we do this work. And like, I'm tagging on to this because I feel this so strongly. It's like, you and I both went through this. We went through not being supported literally recently, but also through our whole lives, right? And like not having the support that we needed, understanding that we were going through some huge deep awakenings, like choosing the path for us and like navigating it all on our own, right? Like all this stuff. And so the reason why we do what we do now is because we realize that like people actually need that guidance and we've actually done it. So we know the path and we know others who have different paths that are similar. So we get to refer you to them, right? You get to work with us. But the real reason why we do what we do is because this work is the most important thing you will ever do in your entire life, which is also why we never chase our clients. We say, hey, if you're ready and you're willing to change the things that need to be changed right now for a better future, for your better life, for better whatever, like we can do that. But
and you don't need to know. You don't need to know what that is, and you can be terrified.
Yes. And
that's okay.
We're gonna do it anyways. And like, it's just one step, but it's all introspection. It's all inward. Like it's an inward journey, right? Which is sometimes the longest and the hardest journey that people can do, but it's the most rewarding. It really is, because it changes how you look at everything, right? Can I quote Vicky really quick?
Yeah. Vicky said this the other day, and oh my gosh, Vic, if I get this wrong, I'm so sorry. But this is the basis of it. We were talking about when people are unwilling to look at their shadow or the dark. And she said, this is why everyone's living life so disconnected, because we're pretending that, and inauthentic, we're pretending that we're, oh my gosh, I'm light. I don't have that in my life because I'm uber insert religion. Because, whatever, everybody's just, I don't, because they're terrified to look at it. But you know what is required? It's required for you to look at that shadow in that dark place and really get to know it and be so aware of it to fucking be whole. To be whole.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh God, like we're living disconnected because we're afraid to look at it. And all you have to do is look at it to live in your wholeness. Like my mind was just like, that's exactly true. Like we live disconnected because we were just like, I don't want to look at the shadow. That's scary or gross or
because it's easier.
That's not mine.
Yeah. Right.
Mm-hmm. But we're living disconnected and fragmented and in every way, shape, and form, but specifically from ourselves. You're just fighting yourself.
Yeah. And so a lot of our clients, like they come to us because they've hit that line. Like they've really hit that line of they're like, I'm so tired of doing this. If I had to do one more day of doing everything else doing something for everybody else, I'm going to throw up, right? Like they just can't anymore. They've hit that threshold. And for some people, it's really like, how much pain is it going to take for you to realize that this isn't working anymore? Yeah. Pain's a powerful teacher, right? It'll teach you as long as you want it to. And for most of our clients, it is that way because that's how most of us wake up. It's like we are just in so much pain that we're like, okay, we give, uncle, and we're done, right? And then we shift, right? And so part of our work is saying like, is making people aware before that happens so it doesn't have to be so excruciating. And yet most of our clients get there anyways. I know we were there too, right? And knowing that like from that place, like everything's possible. because we were so focused on living life a certain way, mostly by default, on the same pathway and the same patterns and cycles that our shadow has been like, projecting forever, right? That we realize that we can actually design our own life. It's like standing at the edge of a field and seeing everything, and we're like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. There's so many choices, right? It's like so overwhelming. And we're like, cool, let's have a conversation, right? Like, and we get to have that, like, that moment. But it totally is that way. And knowing that, like, oh my God, I can have it all. Yeah. But what do I do? I don't know. What do you want to do? Oh my God. And we get to teach people like that process. That's the fun part, like tuning into the body, how to say yes and no, what actually your intuition is calling you to do for real, not for what you think it is, right? What your body is really asking you to do, like all that fun stuff.
Not who you're supposed to be, who you are. Like, and the greatest fucking version of who you are. Right. Like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And so we're really here today to tell you that we see those practitioners. We see that. And most importantly, we see you guys. We see you, our clients, our friends, our colleagues, like needing support and like needing guidance. And like, that's what our discovery call is for, guys. Like, if you literally don't know and you just need somebody to chat with, like, we will tell you and talk to you and like hear you and like tell you, be the first one to tell you that you're not crazy and like you are deserving of everything that you actually need right now, right? And get you to where you need to go. Like, that's the biggest thing. Because we're not here to be like, oh, you called us, like you're gonna be our client now. No, like, do we even resonate first? Like, hold on.
Wait a minute, like, I don't know if I want to work with you. Hold on.
Yeah. Exactly. Because we just don't jive. Like, you may not like my crazy personality that's like telling you all the things. It's true. Not everybody likes that.
And that's okay. It's okay. Yeah.
Because I'm not changing for nobody. So you're welcome.
No, and there's so many people. You're welcome. Yes. And there's so many people that do need what we do, including us. So I love it.
Mm-hmm. I do too. So I think that makes sense.
Good. That feels complete. That feels complete, Kristine. Before we go into a whole other thing, because we could talk all day.
All day long. This would be a 12-hour podcast thing.
You're welcome.
You're welcome in advance. But stay tuned for our follow-up. We're going to have Alyssa on here. And I love her perspective because she works directly with allopathic medicine, which is like like our Western healthcare system, right? Which is MDs, nurses, PAs, stuff like that. And like talks about patient advocacy. So stay tuned for that. And like I said, if you see something, say something. It's like a terrorist thing, but it's, for everything. It's like totally a thing. Like if you see something that you don't like, talk about it. Like say something to the practitioner, say something to us. If you need support, reach out to us. I will put our information down below. You can talk to me. You can talk to Jodi. And it doesn't matter if you are in like another state, Mississippi, and you're never going to see us, right? You maybe will see us maybe for distance. Who knows? But you just don't know. And you need guidance. Call us. We will tell you, and talk to you about the stuff, right? We have people everywhere. Like we know, our practitioners are all over the world. So reach out to us, let us know. And there's so much more to this. So I'm going to stop. Yeah. But I love you guys. And I'm so glad we got to talk about this. And it just feels good to put it out there. And I'm so glad Jodi, we did this today.
Me too.
All right. I'm going to stop recording. Okay.